Hey everybody, this is Halstead and Andrew McMillan with REH CPA. Today we want to talk about taking a charitable deduction for burning down your house. I know that sounds kind of odd, but sometimes we come across this question, especially living up here around the Lake Norman area. We have clients that will buy a piece of property on the lake and it was really expensive, and the house on it is probably 50, 60 years old, dilapidated. It's not really worth fixing it up and refurbishing it. So what they want to do is, they're buying it more for the land. So what they want to do is they want to tear down the house and rebuild. And a long time ago, there was this opportunity to possibly take a charitable deduction if you donated the house to the fire department to burn down and use for training exercises. So I've got Andrew McMillan here with me today to talk about what is the possibility of being able to take a charitable deduction for donating your house to the fire department. Andrew, what can you tell us?
Well, first off, it's really tough to get that deduction to actually be upheld under audit. So there are some recent court cases here now that where this has been litigated and gone through the court system, and the IRS has won in every single one of those that we've seen where they've denied the deduction. So really what it comes down to is just proving that there's actually a fair market value there to the home that you're donating. So a lot of the arguments that the IRS has been successful in arguing and winning on their behalf is they say that the house donation to the fire department is a partial interest donation. So all that means when it comes to charitable donations in the eyes of the IRS and according to the rules, it has to be 100% donation. Like you have to give 100% of something to someone else and receive nothing in return. So when you donate a house, you're not donating the underlying land. So an argument can be made that the house is separate from the land, but the IRS has been able to make points and have it upheld in court where they're connected in some of the court cases that we've seen. So because you're only giving a partial interest deduction, it can get challenging to have that be upheld under audit. It's just really hard to prove the fair market value. Like you're donating something that has a conditional requirement that it has to be burned. So having that conditional requirement on there that you want it to be burned down leaves the door open for the IRS to even say like, well, what is the true value of this thing if you don't even, you want it to be destroyed? How is there really a value to that? So it's really hard to prove if you ever have to go to court over this.
Do they also take into account the fact that you're having it burnt down and removed and it's pretty much free for you?
It is. So that's the other argument. Like you say, well, the fair market value of the house is X, but you're also getting the benefit of having it removed from your property, having it demolished. So even if you are going to try to do this deduction, you'd have to have a fair market value done by, you have to have an appraisal done on that house, and you need to get like an actual specific person who specializes in this area to do these appraisals, because they've got to value that house not based on what homes have sold comparable in the market. They have to value it taking into account that there's this conditional requirement that it has to be burned down, plus that you are receiving a benefit of having demolition costs done. So if you didn't have the fire department burn the house down, you would have had to pay somebody to come knock it down, destroy it, and remove it. So there's value in that to that thing that you're receiving. So it's just very challenging to do. There was some tax law that sort of set a precedent decades ago to where you could do this, but since the early 2000s, there's plenty of articles out there on it, and there's anyone who has been audited by the IRS in this type of situation, we haven't seen anyone have a case that made their deduction be upheld when you look at all the facts and circumstances. So it's not something you should take lightly if you're thinking about doing. So it's very challenging to get this deduction.
Okay, so I guess to summarize everything, if you probably cannot take a charitable deduction if you donate your house to the fire department to be burned down, because that means it's probably not worth anything.
Right. Right.
Great. So if you have questions about that, or you're thinking about doing a transaction and you have that in mind, feel free to give us a call and we can help you out with that. Thanks.